Kongorozia.
Daniel, because it's my namesake. Daniel chapter 1. Now, the book of Daniel chapter 1 talks about, so if you have a book and a pen, this is where you begin writing. So the book of Daniel chapter 1 introduces a story. What is the story? Let me give you how the politics of that time looks like. So there are several countries in the Middle East. One of the countries is the country of Israel, but which at this point is divided into two countries. The southern country, which is called Judah, the northern country, which is called Ephraim. So these are the two countries. They divided themselves in 930 BC when Solomon died, and his son came up, the two divided. One country south, one country north. The country on the south is called Judah, with the capital city of Jerusalem. The one on the north is called Ephraim. Now, these two countries are surrounded by big superpowers of the time. On the south, there is Egypt. On the north, there is Syria. And on the eastern side, they have the kingdom of Babylon. Now, during that time of Babylon, it is the beginning of a new Babylon, which was called Neo-Babylon, right? Because the first Babylon, which was built up by a guy called Hammurabi, had actually been defeated by the Assyrians. So there is a new Babylon. And there is a king who is reigning. His name is Nabopolassar, who has a son by the name of Nebuchadnezzar. So some of you have heard about Nebuchadnezzar. Have you heard about Nebuchadnezzar? Yes. If you have not, you better begin going to church. Hallelujah. It's not a good symptom. So Nebuchadnezzar is the son to Nabopolassar. He is a young man, he is a crown prince. He will take over when his father dies. So he wants to impress the father, and he begins to go around conquering nations that are nearby. And one of the weak nations that is nearby is Israel, because it has divided itself into two countries. So he targets Israel, and in 605 BC comes to Israel and conquers the children of Israel. When he conquers them, he decides his father has given him specific instructions. Pick the brightest, the sharp minds, young people that are exceptional from there. Pick them, bring them, will train them, and make them to rule over their people, so that it is hard for their people to revolt over them, because they'll say, those who are leading us are our own. So he comes, and then he picks these young people, and among the young people that are picked is Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Some of you have known them as the four Hebrew boys, right? They are taken into Babylon, into captivity. When they reach into Babylon captivity, chapter 1 of Daniel then now explains, when they reach as a group, how Nebuchadnezzar picks from them. Those of you who have time, you should go and read. He says, pick for me, number one, young people that are coming from noble families. From the big families that were happening in Israel, pick from them. Pick the children of professors. Pick the children of kings. The children of the bourgeoisie, pick these. But not only those, because some of the children of the rich are foolish. Some of the children of the kings themselves are foolish. Pick the best. Pick those that are quick to learn. Quick to understand things. Pick those that are adapted and actually know current affairs. Pick those that can quickly learn and understand science. So they pick the best of the very best. And they say, these ones, put them in the University of Babylon. They must learn for 3 years. After they have learned for 3 years, it is from there that we are going to pick those who are going to serve before Nebuchadnezzar. Now at the same time, they give them a special diet, because if you are going to serve before the king, there's a way you must look. It shouldn't be that when you pass, the king loses appetite. No, there's a way you must look. So put them on a special diet. They are put on a special diet. When they bring the food, Daniel says, no, for us who are Hebrews, there's what we eat and what we don't eat. So this which you have brought, much as it is coming from the king, we don't eat. We are requesting that you give us a special diet. What is your diet? They ask. They say, just give us the vegetables, the cereals, the legumes, and all that. Remove the meats and everything else. Says, I can't give you that, because if you're going to lose weight and die, the king will slaughter me. He says, okay, let's do an experiment. Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego say, let's do a 10 days experience. Put us on this food. Put everybody else on the food you normally feed here from Babylon. After 10 days, do to us as we'll be looking. So they do a clinical trial. By the way, if you have done medical sciences like the nutritionists, you would know then that the first clinical trial that is ever recorded in history is the one recorded in Daniel chapter 1. That was a double-blinded study. And they put them on a clinical trial. By the time they are done with the clinical trial, 10 days later, we are told that the Hindu boys looked more healthy than these guys. So they continued on their thing. They went into university for 3 years, the way you are here for 3 years. After 3 years, they came to sit with Nebuchadnezzar, himself an accomplished scholar, who began to examine them and ask them questions. The Bible tells us that when Nebuchadnezzar was done asking them questions, he found that they were not 2 times more intelligent than their friends, not 3 times more intelligent, not 4 times. They were 10 times more intelligent than their friends. I do not know if you have ever met somebody who is 10 times more intelligent than you. I've not met anyone yet who is 10 times more intelligent than me, but I've met people who are more intelligent than me. When I went to UNSA School of Natural Sciences, where we came from were geniuses. We were literally celebrities. Because where I came from, I taught to my school. I did my high school in 11 years, not 12 years. Because my teachers felt I was intelligent enough to write. I had a record. I was here, grade 7, I was representing the whole of Western Province at Jets quiz and projects. Grade 9, I was back here representing Western Province, went to Kitwe, Belembe, representing Western Province in quiz and junior mathematics. Grade 12, I was back here representing again Western Province in Olympiads and in quiz. So literally, where I came from, I was an academic celebrity. I reached in MS. Then I came to know that there are people on earth. You write a test. I remember we write one test. People have gotten their 40%, 30% and all that. So I'm carrying my, I don't know that it was a 49% and I'm scared. But you see, as a student, you always want to know. There's that little devil tells you to always want to compare what others have got. So I go to this guy and say, Mana, how was it? He says, things were bad. He's not stating his percentage. He's just saying things were bad. He says, what of you? I said, no, things are bad. No one is willing to state how bad. So I became courageous and I said, I got a 49%. He said, you at least. Me, 28%. And I just felt very nice. I realized that we are so wicked that when you find somebody who has done less than you, somehow in there, you get feeling a little bit like, all right, not so bad, not so bad. So I felt a little bit good. We went to the next guy. I was like, what have you got? The guy, 33%. I said, oh, okay. My step started changing like that. It seems actually, ask the next guy. When we asked everyone within my circle, I was stopping them with 49%. The guys were 21, 22, 23. I said, I mean, who else? It is us. So we went to this guy, the last guy, Dr. Daniel Chababa. Now he's a lecturer at Eden University. Smart guy that come from Russia. So we go and in Russia he was doing architecture. Then he came again here to Unza to do whatever he liked. This is a guy who gets caught up in medicine. Then he says, no, I don't like medicine. He goes back to biochemistry. Super smart guy. So we go to him. And when we go there now, we are all confident because we all know we are revolving around the mean. So we go there and say, so how was it with you? He said, things were bad. Now that's what I can. Even for him it was bad. Things were bad. So we go like, yeah, me I got 49. The other guy 33. The other guy 32. Guess what? The guy says, yeah, even for me it was bad. He pulls out his paper and he says, you know, my marks have dropped because the other time I had a 95. Now I have a 90. When he gave us the 90, the words that are said in the Bible to say the young man went away sad, they were fulfilled. Because we all just said bye-bye and we went away very sad. But at that point you're shocked. This guy, everybody is around 30. The guy has and 20s, 21, 22, they are ministers. Ministers in a superpower that ruled the whole world then. These young men were exceptional. These young men were excellent. These young men stood out. I should tell you that now Zambia and the world at large is faced with challenges that should be solved. These challenges will be solved by young men and young ladies that are exceptional. In case you are thinking that Daniel, Meshach, and Abednego were competing in a system of simple science, let me tell you a little bit about what Babylon looked like. You must understand that it is the Babylonians that divided an hour into 60 minutes. The 60 minutes you know today comes from Babylon. You must know that it is the Babylonians that divided a circle into 360 degrees. You must know that in astronomy and astrology, the Babylonians mapped out eclipses to this time, such that right now the astronomers in America and everywhere else are still using the literature of Babylon, which they mapped out in 1774 up to this date. You must know that it is the Babylonians that gave us base 10. It is the Babylonians that gave us the decimal system. When you talk about decimal points, it is from Babylon. It is the Babylonians that gave us the square root and the cubic root. It is coming from Babylon. It is the Babylonians in agriculture that introduced irrigation. Because you should know that Babylon was found near Tigris and Euphrates, the land which is called Mesopotamia, where civilization started from. It is the Babylonians that gave us irrigation. It is the Babylonians that led in all this medicine that we know today. So Daniel, Meshach, and Abednego, in their time, Babylon prided itself in mathematics. They introduced quadratic equations, solved much of their challenges using quadratic equations. So Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were introduced in a highly knowledgeable society. It was not easy to stand out, but they stood out. They become ministers at a very young age, in their 20s. Now it is you and me, young at your age, at 20. What are you doing to impact and change Zambia and Africa at large? Can you be approached for solutions? Or you are another problem we need to solve? You know, I look at NRDC and its mission. The mission of NRDC says very well, this is an institution that is based on practical, it is practical oriented to produce quality graduates that are going to go and manage our natural resources. I don't know whether you know that Dr. Kaunda opened this college just a few days after independence. Few days after independence. Development college. The people that come out of here must be able to go and not only manage our resources but develop our resources. Right now we are faced with the challenge of drought, and we are faced with the power crisis. And you know that our systems run on hydropower. It is people from NRDC that have done agricultural engineering and water engineering. This is the time when we must see the relevance of the hydrology that you study. Right now, Zambia is facing with the challenge of nutrition. There is a crisis of nutrition. One of the publications by UNICEF indicates that 35% of our children are stunted. It means they are too short for their age. And the nutritionists of NRDC must solve this problem. Right now we have the crisis of milling. And yet we have people at NRDC that are studying crop science, animal science, business management. You are the people that should produce solutions to the food crisis that we have as a country. I want you to begin to see life in the real context of what it is. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, man makes a very small package when he comes wrapped in himself. What does that mean? If life will revolve around you, you are a very small being. That is why, in what I'm going to challenge you, I'm going to challenge you not only for national impact, I will challenge you for global impact. Because if all you are thinking is to build a house, that is too small a dream. Probably you have not traveled. That is why you may think a house is a big thing. There are people who even forget how many houses they have. They have to be reminded by somebody who just keeps their list. Say, sir, that other house. So if your dream is around the house, it is a small dream. If your dream is just to drive a car, a nice car, very small dream. If your dream is only to get a degree, very small dream. There are so many people that have degrees, so many people that have masters, so many people that drive nice cars, so many people that have built, so many people that have married or anything. If you are going to begin to live your purpose, you must begin to live a life that impacts beyond your immediate circle. Not because of what I have acquired, but because of what I've done. You see, acquiring is a small issue because acquiring is a side effect of relevance. Become relevant and you begin acquiring. It is those that have not. What is your word? Let me take it a bit lower. Let me take it a bit lower with an example. When you have not achieved much, you struggle to find a girlfriend. When you achieve, you don't chase girls, girls chase you. So the girls you are looking for become a side effect of your achievements. That's what I'm saying. A house to a person who has really created impact is a very simple thing because it's just a side effect of accomplishment. So I'm saying, desire to achieve. So the three things are these that I want you to learn as we are closing. Number one, if you are going to become great, by the way, I have printed my presentation in this document. And I've come with, I think, 15 of these documents. So I've printed this presentation and 15 of them so you could get a copy. However, I should mention something maybe at this point. I don't give free things. Yes, because free things are what has damaged Africa. Africa lives on aid. The power is not in the one who receives, it is in the one who gives. That's why the Bible says it is more blessed to give than to receive. When you receive, you are moved from this level to the next level. When you give, you move from here to the next level. Now, a mindset that looks for free things damages the psyche. When you earn things, your confidence builds up. When you earn things, your skill is built. So anything that concerns me, you have to earn it. You have to earn it because free aid damages. So, this presentation, I'll not charge you this presentation for its worth. However, I'll charge you that presentation for its paper. And then the point? Its worth, I'll not charge you, but for its paper, I'll charge you. You know why? Somebody says when you pay attention. You know why in Africa people don't change? In America, advising somebody is called consultants. You pay for it, you go, they advise you. In Africa, the whole village can sit one foot down, everyone advising him. After they finish advising him, he stands and says, what can you tell me? And off he goes. Why? The advice is free. So I've said three things. Number one, knowledge. Acquire knowledge. Knowledge is a competitive advantage. Knowledge is a competitive advantage. Any person that becomes great is knowledgeable than an average person. Any person you admire is more knowledgeable than you. Just knowledge. With all that you can, invest in knowledge. Find yourself around areas where there is knowledge exchange. Even in the circle of your friends, look for friends that are knowledgeable. The Bible says, he that walks with the wise becomes wise, but a companion of fools will be destroyed. Learn to hang around the knowledgeable. I will tell you that I keep the best in my circle of friends. If you know very little lower than me, it becomes hard for us to be friends. But if you know more than me, then I'm interested. Because I have something to learn. Then I know there is value I derive from being a friend. How do you know who you should choose for a friend? We are told that great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events, and small minds discuss people. So you can check in the circle of friends that you have. What do we discuss? If normally when you sit, it is ideas. Guys, let's begin a business. Guys, let's attend Africa Master Things. You are discussing ideas. Then you know your friends are great minds. If when you meet with your friends, the discussion is around events. What are events? Weddings, kitchen party, Chilanga, soccer, Christmas, and any of these, all of them, it is what happened last week. The way we scored them on Tuesday, the way we did, you are always discussing history and not the future. When you are in a circle that discusses history, you know you have average minds for friends. Those are even better because the small minds discuss me. When they see, they go like, when they see the discussions are about people. Then you know you are hanging around small minds. Such minds cannot develop you. And you must choose. When I came here at NRDC, I chose 3 guys for my friends. One of them Silinga, one of them Mulivasi, then there was me. We had a study group here. The other guy was doing animal science, I was doing water engineering, the other guy was doing agric engineering. I'll tell you that I left NRDC after 6 months. But when I left NRDC after 6 months, I was stopping my whole class. Literally, Mr. Sabutai and others came after I left. They said, where is that lousy guy? Because my marks were unmatched. Not because I was intelligent, but because I hung around the intelligent. Mulivas graduated from here with a distinction. Straight to Monza to do veterinary medicine. Silinga graduated with a top merit. Straight to Monza. Today as we are speaking is a civil engineer. I was hanging around the best of minds. Begin to have an affinity for the best. Some of us love the West so that you can comfort each other in mediocrity. When you bring your 10%, this one is bringing 15. The other one 11. So at least it's not bad. You comfort each other in mediocrity. Seek for minds that are more informed, more enlightened, more exposed than you are. It is the path of growth. So what kind of knowledge should you look for? Number 1, under knowledge, look for relevant knowledge. Africa has a challenge of people that have irrelevant knowledge. There's some of you here that know all the players that are playing in Europe. Irrelevant knowledge. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You know something I'm going to tell you? I love soccer and I plan to watch soccer. But I'll tell you the first day I'll watch soccer. The first day I'll watch soccer, I'll buy a jersey original for myself, for my wife, and fly her out to Europe, to those stadiums, and sit there to watch soccer. That's my plan. I don't want to be the one who is always watching soccer on a TV where I have to go and slap it for it to show clearly. Why? I have wasted my productive time and failed to afford the luxuries of life. Be smart. Gather relevant knowledge. Some of you, your hard drive is loaded with movies. Your hard drive is loaded with series. Your hard drive is loaded with some funny music, some rap. When physics comes looking for where to sit, there are no seats because here, there is this musician here, there is this musician here, there is this musician. Physics comes, moves around, no seat goes out. When the lecturer comes to look for physics, there is no physics in the head. Load your mind with relevant knowledge. Every generation has knowledge that is relevant. For example, right now, artificial intelligence, digital marketing, all these are relevant knowledge. Number 2, load your mind with knowledge that is monetizable. Don't just read stuff. I'll tell you, for me, anything I read is selling. Once I read, I sell my knowledge. One of the meetings I was just speaking to recently, for you to attend that meeting, you needed to pay 8,500 kwacha. You understand? 8,500 kwacha to attend. And I was speaking there for 30 minutes, and it was in Siavonga. And these guys, last year, this year, last year they were in Livingstone. When they were in Livingstone, again it was around the same match, they called me, they asked me, should we fly you to Livingstone or we give you money for fuel to drive? Then you go. Now listen, you cannot be flown to Livingstone, accommodated in a van to speak to top guys who are running this country when your head is full of Nigerian movies. When your head is full of soccer players, that's not what they listen to. When your head is full of some rap music from some cheap musician from the corner, no, you are going to be flown and people will pay. And I'll tell you, this happens. Those of you who follow me on Facebook will know that. I fly out of this country to speak to top-notch conferences where they'll pay us. They're going to accommodate us in top-notch global hotels. For you to reach that, you don't need to bath in roots. For you to reach that, you don't need to go and see your grandfather. For you to reach that, you just need to sit and make a decision that you will load your head with relevant knowledge. So as you are here at NRDC, begin to load your head with relevant knowledge. I'll tell you, when I was here, I was living in that library upstairs. That library has something on top, right? That's where I used to be. Loaded my head. Anywhere I go, the world is paying for the knowledge. The world pays for relevant knowledge. Number 3, load your head with rare knowledge. Don't have common knowledge. What everybody else knows. When you know what everybody else knows, you will get what everyone else gets. So know beyond a common person. Right now, if I'm to ask you, this talk that I've given you, I can walk out and somebody just says, okay, to continue where he left, let me come in front there and stand here and say these things. Is it possible? I don't think so. What I'm sharing with you is rare knowledge. The good thing is that this rare knowledge, anyone who is willing to chase it can find it. And when you find it, it will make you a scarce resource. When you become scarce, your demand goes up. Look for rare knowledge. Number 4, acquire knowledge that makes you respectable. There is knowledge which when you have, men respect you. It is knowledge where in a family meeting, when there is a funeral and you raise your hand, everyone keeps quiet. Wow, you are the guy who has knowledge that makes you respected. They say, but James, we saw your hand. Even if you were just scratching your head, they say, but James, you stand. You give your contribution. When you are done, everybody just says, no, I concur with my James. I concur with my James. I concur with my James. And the meeting closes. When you have irrelevant knowledge, you raise your hand. And the chairman continues to say, any hands? Any hands? Any hands? But I think we don't want confusion here. We don't want, because the contribution of an empty head brings confusion. So load your brain with respectable knowledge. Knowledge that makes you respectable. Lastly, on knowledge, load your head with monetizable knowledge. Knowledge that can be monetized. Knowledge that can be sold. That is sellable. Load your head with such knowledge. So that is knowledge. Number 2, acquire what? Skills. Acquire skills. This world rewards people that are skilled. I am often disturbed. You see, let me give you a good example of Mr. Nelson here, Oscar. He came here, started water engineering, finished water engineering. There are no jobs for engineers, right? But you see, because he has a skill. What skill has he got? He has a skill in graphic designing. He has a skill in everything to do with media. His skill was able to get him a good job. He is our head of media because beyond the engineering, he added to himself a skill. While people were gallivanting here at NRDC to say, baby, look into my eyes. Look into my eyes. Look into my eyes. While they were looking into each other's eyes, he was looking into books to acquire a skill. Today, that skill has moved him from the unemployed to the employed. So acquire a skill. Do not be comfortable to be skillless. When we ask about cooking, your cooking is dangerous. When we ask about painting, you can't do that. Graphic designing, you can't do that. You can't do anything. The only thing you can do is wake up, move around, come back, sleep. Eat, wake up, move around, come back, sleep. read in your Bible, there's a young man by the name of David. You should know that David was in the bush, herding animals. Do you know what moved David from the bush to the palace? When he was in the bush herding animals, a crisis happened in the palace. When a crisis happened in the palace, because the king has become melancholy, they say, what are we going to do to serve the king? They say, one servant suggested and said, let us find a man that is skilled, who can play an instrument, such that when the king moves into his depressive episode, this person is going to play the music and the king is going to be fine. They said, where can we find such a man? One of the surveys that was done of over 60 countries. There are more people that begin businesses in Zambia by ratio, more than people who begin businesses in America, more than people who begin businesses in the UK, more than people who begin businesses in China. By the way, Zambia in terms of entrepreneurial activity in Africa is number one, which is good news. But guess what? Zambia in terms of business failure in Africa is number one. Of all, now, I want to bring a point here. Of all the businesses that start in Zambia, when we say a business is established, it must cross the 3.5 years mark. Then that business is established. Of all the businesses that start in Zambia, according to the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, only 4.6% cross the 3.6 mark. What does that tell you? Now, do you know one of the leading causes of business failure? We have people that are courageous, but very ignorant.